Our work is at the intersection of community-led media with self-determination as well as community-led solutions, both in development as well as the humanitarian sector. But we also work in other contexts, in activism and peace building. And that has given us a bit of a chance to look at how different sectors push boundaries, gray areas outside the margins of the usual humanitarian architecture. The main thing for us is to bring people's views and voice into decision making. And that can be in lots of different ways, but particularly in CCEA, for us is working on localization and working through communities and local actors, as well as supporting many times monitoring, evaluation, and learning, both in big agencies as well as local actors, to incorporate CCEE there and then, for learning, for better design, as well as for ongoing dialogue. Technology advances fast, but in different contexts advance in different ways. So for example, when we work with indigenous people, although we do work in a lot of contexts by distance and online, you do have to understand what's the reality of internet, what is the reality of mobile access, what is the reality of a lot of aspects of access to technology in one particular location. And many times it's really different, not just from country to country, but obviously from region to region inside the country. But it is really, really important that you make sure that is there, that access is there before you send information, you assume that they're going to get it. In my experience, that is quite important, and it's also understanding who's accessing it, of course, and in some contexts that has social determinants of gender or age or other aspects or ethnicity. And in contexts where that is more equal between commas, there may be other power dynamics at play in the community groups. So you do have to understand that. So when we support organizations, we really focus on the human side and the individuals, as well as on the skills that you may need to use certain tools like we support organizations to do, because that is really important, because they are change makers in those organizations and in those contexts, to change dynamics, to change the architecture, to change how people decide, and making real the participation revolution, making real all the commitments. It's about individuals. So in our experience, that is really, really fundamental. We don't have to forget that side of the sector that is built from human beings. That is really important, because many times people really work in silos, have no idea of what's happening. The comms team has no idea what's happening in planning or programmatic team or M&E. And that is the chances that you lose for doing really good work in one process that can not just be useful for all the different departments or areas of work, but also better understanding of the issues and the complexity, and being everybody on board. The opportunity, in my view, is that communities are already doing a lot. I always feel like we feel like we have to come and fill a void, that nobody's doing anything. And that, again, I know that different people position themselves differently in understanding that, and many do know that a lot is happening, but it's reminding that constantly to ourselves. There is a lot happening that the sector is not involving, and people are the first respondents. People are the ones who organize the solidarity networks. So in my view is never forgetting that, and always starting by asking and understanding what's already there, and then how can we add value to that, or maybe fill gaps that are not being filled. So I do think that again sounds obvious, but I do feel it doesn't happen always. But I do think we don't have any more excuses. we've have enough learning from a lot of amazing research that these different institutions have done, including CDAC. So there is a lot of valid evidence to understand not just things that work or don't, but the mistakes that we cannot make again. So I do feel there is an opportunity there, not forgetting that, using the learning from previous processes and always starting that way, which again, as even is obvious, for us is really a mantra of understanding people's perspectives and supporting them in leading community-led solutions to different situations in any context. So I do think is also an opportunity to decolonize the sector, because we've been talking, particularly in the some of the sessions last year from CDAC, on those issues. And I do think the same as in the development sector, those conversations are happening strongly. For example, led with Bond here in the UK. And I do feel is, if you really listen, you are going to more and more be locally led, and localization is happening as well as decolonization. So it's not like suddenly it's a new topic and we have to discover new strategies and new methods to deal with it. Actually, to be anti-racist, to decolonize, it is to listen, and it is to be locally led. So I think those are opportunities if you really want to take seriously those agendas as an organization and as a sector, basically.